Pat, I've got some big news. I was kind of hoping to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
After many years, I've decided to make a big change in my life. I haven't really talked to anyone about it, but I feel willing to be vulnerable on this program. In about 2009, I made the decision to stop saying LOL in text and instead say haha. And I think I'm coming back around to saying LOL in text now.
I think there's a time and a place, and I think the world's ready to welcome you back. Because sometimes it is a little lull, but sometimes it's a...
I don't know,
sometimes it's just a lol. You know,
sometimes
there's different...
I'm in my rafflecopter.
I'm just riding around. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you're in the rafflecopter, that's a different state of mind than the lull. And I think you need the lull in your arsenal because not everything's, it's just not everything is that way. Or, it's just not lull. It's like, lol. All
right.
Yeah, I think use it. It's part of the arsenal in texting to help your fellow man understand exactly what you're saying. If one thing from working from home has taught me anything, it's that emails, you can really overanalyze those things, man. Like text is so like, if punctuation important, just like our junior high English teachers swore to us would be true or would be the case. Punctuation matters. So anyway, welcome back. And it's good to have you. I didn't know you were taking this vow of silence from the LOL community. And
been a while.
I think it's fine. I'm happy for you.
I'm feeling good, man. But let's get into the episode. Today we're covering Jamie Lawlover.
Wow. Was that a whole pun-based intro? You didn't even tell me anything about that's incredible.
It wasn't planned.
Start the show. Start the show.
It wasn't good enough to be
planned.
Shut
it down. Start it down. Shut it down or get it going. I don't know. I do play the intro.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. Anyways, I've been feeling insecure about going back to LOL. but
I
haha
can't
doesn't...
believe you just Jamie lolled over me. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to relax here. We rode the hype train into the Blink episode. We were swearing up a storm. Too hype, borderline too hype, self-indulgently hype. And here we are. And you lay that on me.
It wasn't planned, I promise.
Okay. This isn't do you need to make a phone call? Can I get you some cigarettes or something? We're gonna be here for a while. Okay. We're gonna be here a while talking about Mayday Parade. Sorry, yeah, I couldn't tell if I wanted you to talk or me to talk. But yeah, it's Mayday Parade. We're talking about Mayday Parade.
Yeah, man. This bit has been requested quite a bit on Twitter throughout the past couple years. We've kind of avoided it. We've mentioned them in passing. There's a lot to talk about with them. And it's interesting because we both agree Jamie Lawlover is not their best song.
You need to... I'm not mad at you. It just really bugs me. You need to cut that out. You need to stop. I don't know why. It hit my ears wrong. I just really hate it. I can't. I'm so sorry. It's just sometimes.
All right. Jamie Lawlover is not their best song, but as an album opener, it is very good. It gets you in the right place, but the rest of this album, A Lesson in Romantics, just drags you down to the gutter immediately. Sets you up for something different than what's going to happen in the next 45 minutes. But
should we? Some of our tweeters and Instagram followers had some input that kind of reflects what I think what you're saying. Should we delve into the fan commentary?
Yeah.
First of all, lately I've been asking my wife for short, quick thoughts, before I record with you on Mayday Parade in general. Quote: unremarkable. End quote.
Boo!
Last week
I boo your wife.
Hey, which puts me in a weird position because she's not here right now. But don't boo my wife. No, I don't know. She was being silly. Last week on the Hello Goodbye episode, she cutesy electronica, which I was like, man, that's like a whole actual subgenre almost. Anyway, but yeah, pretty harsh, I thought. Moving on to Devin, who recently followed us on Twitter. calling for a Mayday episode, said, quote, "A Lesson in Romantics is an angsty masterpiece." When we think about angst a lot on this show, we're thinking My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday sorts of things. Had that crossed your mind that A Lesson in Romantics was an angsty masterpiece? Because I never thought about it in the same vein as, say, Tell All Your Friends.
It makes sense.
But that might go into a... Go ahead.
No, it makes sense, but I guess I never perceived it as... It's less like anger angst, right? The weirdly specific transportation-related accident angst. More like, I'll never have the girl. It's almost like a different subgenre of angst, if that's a thing.
It's weird because, I think as we get later into the decade, when we talked about Cute Is What We Aim For and Boys Like Girls, we talk about like, did we lump these bands in with, say, Metro Station when really they were just kind of rock bands that were marketed in a certain way given the time period? Like, the more I think about it and the more I listen back, it's like, it is angsty, but I don't at all. I associate it with these like quote unquote weak or soft late decade acts in the emo scene. But I guess we tried to answer this last week with Hello Goodbye. Does Mayday Parade rock?
Yeah, dude. I love this band.
I'm going to say yes. They have the capacity to rock a lot, I might argue. Anyway, it was just interesting to see Devin phrase it that way because I'm like, man, when we usually say angst, we're probably talking about Three Cheers to Street Revenge or Tell All Your Friends. But
right.
like, yeah, this is an angsty. Devin also, using the phrase masterpiece, I was kind of like, whoa, here we go. Which I was listening back through and I'm like, I really like 2/3 of this album. So maybe, they're, okay. So Devin was saying also, which is something I'd like to expand on later, that also, quote, "Also Surely Jamie is set in the same place as Dear Maria in some emo verse," end quote, which is tremendous.
Yes.
Because we've done an episode on Dear Maria. And I'm not so sure the Curse of Curves video would not be in that universe as well. Let's talk about the emo verse at the end of the show. I've never loved... That's probably my favorite fan mail we've gotten so far. The emo verse, how many... It's kind of like... People do this a lot of the time, like when they're covering lowbrow culture stuff, but there's like a Sandler verse and all that stuff. But like the emo verse, how many music videos could we tie into this? I love it already. And I can't wait to dig in later. But Todd on Instagram said, Mayday Parade peaked on their debut full length.
Maybe that's because one of their main singers left this band to go start Go Radio. I don't know. Makes sense.
I'm going to do my Michael Barbaro New York Times Daily reaction to that.
It's like when the bassist of Cartel left and they just never had that same zip. There you go.
Yes. There you go. Well, clarify this for me. Is Lesson in Romantics the first full length, their debut full length?
Yeah, they had an EP, Tales Told
07.
From Dead Friends, by Dead Friends, which was also pretty good. Yeah.
They were on Lead Singer Syndrome, or one of the lead singers was, for a brief little interview where they talked about in 06, before they actually got on Warped Tour, like they were trying to pimp the CD and they would just follow Warped Tour around doing the parking lot scene and selling CDs. And they almost got kicked out. But thoughts on grinding in the parking lot circuit of Warped Tour, following Warped Tour around to just sell CDs? That's some serious grinding. If I had to, like, to their credit, like, that's going for it.
So my first Warped Tour was 2007. And I remember buying a band's EP because the line to get in through security or whatever was super long, not moving at all. And this guy just had like an iPod Classic and was like, put these earbuds in, and would just like have you listen to 30 seconds of his band and then try to sell you his CD. And it worked. I bought it. It was pretty good stuff. I think it's incredible. I would never have thought to like go to that length, but man, they deserve any ounce of fame they got by having that kind of hustle. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Hustle's a good word for it. Yeah. Okay. So Adrian comes in on Twitter, quote, "Saw Mayday Parade at Warped in 07.
Heyo.
Wait, with you possibly, unknowingly. Who's to say? And one of, the main vocalists had to fly home for a family emergency that morning. And the band got a bunch of front people from other bands to sing their songs during their set. It's a great live music memory,"
That's
end quote.
Awesome.
Yeah, hopefully everything worked out for the band member that had to go home. But That sounds like a very nice Warped Tour memory, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever run into anything like that? Like, I can only imagine, because like there seems to be a pretty large Warped Tour camaraderie between everybody, like inside running jokes based on what bands are quote unquote fake feuding or having a good time together. You know, to do little duets. I imagine it's like, well, this is a bad example, but like the NBA is playing in a bubble right now, right? And a lot of people are wondering if like super teams are going to come from this, where like in free agency, they all know they're basically in a summer camp setting in the bubble in Orlando. So they're like, are they going to all become friends? And it's going to determine which players go where in the future. Like, it's almost like at Warped Tour when everyone's hanging out outside of their band personas, like they all get to form these little bonds and maybe form side projects, do this and that, and become friends in that way. So I'm curious who would have gone out on stage with them that day. And it's weird, like when you know people for a certain thing, like being a player for a certain team or a band member for a certain band, and you like those photos of like Blink and Less Than Jake on tour together in like 1997 or whatever. It's just like, it's weird that you guys are even aware of each other in the world. I know you're just people, but like, I need you to be, it's like, and they're just people. So like, I need you to be this very specific thing all the time, you know, in my head, but it's like, it almost like breaks the matrix of my mind or something. Like it would be weird to see, it sounds like a super fun night where it's like, wow, you guys are all here too. I knew that, but it's weird to see you all here. You know, it's like, wow. Anyway, very jealous of that memory. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I don't remember seeing them at Warped Tour, although I was there in 2007. I don't know if I was heavily into them. I think I was in 2007. I think that's why.
Did you go to see them in 2007 or no?
My one memory of going to see them was at Forward Hall.
Whoa.
I know. And like Sam Cray, again, one of like the main Sherpas from this show, introduced me to this band in All Time Low in the same day. So I've always compared them.
That's an all-timer Sherpa move for Sam.
Right. So like I compare them, like they're like a package deal to me. I can't think about one without the other. But I had no friends that listened to Mayday Parade. I didn't know anything about them. So when I get to Forward Hall, and I've told the story, there's like a line of 300 girls at this show. And first of all, a 16-year-old version of me should have been hyped about that, right? Like, I'm the only guy in this venue right now. But I remember being like, oh man, this band probably isn't that cool then. And I had like very weird feelings about like, oh, this is like a girly band. Am I even allowed to like them anymore? Which again, like that anxiety that comes from being a teenager and like, do I like this? Is this cool? Is this good? Am I allowed to? It really messed with my head, but because I always perceived them as this band that like rocked pretty hard. And then it was like, oh, it's just like this girly band, which is like the dumbest thing to think. But
so when I got your iTunes onto my phone or pre-iPhone,
right.
iPod. Wow.
iPod.
It took me a while to even remember the device's name. My sister, you had a playlist, but really you had just taken all the Lesson and Romantic songs onto a playlist so you could access it easier to listen because you were just into them at around the time I took your library onto mine.
Yeah.
But she had thought that I made a playlist in capital letters, called that playlist A Lesson in Romantics to like self-conjure that sort of mood for myself through like a very, like, not that I hadn't in my life, but like a lovey playlist together, like, you know, long hours of playing Snood, like whatever.
Oh my God.
But
yeah,
I wouldn't have called it A Lesson in Freaking Romantics. It would have been a folder on my desktop labeled stuff, I think. I'm just kidding. That's a weird desktop folder joke, I guess. I don't know.
I have a desktop folder called Stuff. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. I was like, Tom isn't laughing. That's either because A, it wasn't funny, or B, he has that exact folder on his desktop.
It's the only folder on my entire computer. Just called Stuff. Hey, dude, I keep a clean desktop. I have my hard drive in one folder.
You are an organizer. As a digital hoarder, which I've called you from back in the day, you have to be organized for that sort of thing. I, just for the record, made a quick folder joke. I don't actually have one myself. It's just movies and... I live my life based on movies and TV, and people seem to love making jokes about that stuff. So if that was a little over the top, I am sorry. Just trying to, everyone, as Don Draper would say, everyone just wants to feel like they're doing what they're supposed to. Okay. Anyway, haha, my sister found out later. Wouldn't believe, sure, it's just a band's album. It's like, yeah, it is. I swear to God. I swear to God. Okay. I'm spiraling if that's not obvious. So, Tom, I'm going to let you delve back into your anecdotes.
Sure. I got 3 anecdotes. In college.
Anecdotes.
Anecdotes.
Can we?
Time for
Let's do a couple rounds.
Tom's anecdotes.
Yeah, I'm going to do one and then you do another.
Okay.
Actually, I might do 2. Anecdotes. Blazing anecdotes.
Blazing.
These anecdotes are blazing. Buckle up, soldier. We're about to go over some anecdotes.
Okay, so my band in college.
Strap in, baby boy. We're about to relive some anecdotes.
Hold on to your fucking little boy.
Go cry to your mommy, because we're about to go to the big kids table and talk about some anecdotes.
That's it. That's the one right there. It's going in every episode.
When you said hold on to your I thought that I lost it on that one. What, are you going to cry to your mommy talking about stories about your mommy in the form of an anecdote? Okay, well, we should stop it there. Okay, but for real, you had drum sets, Edinburgh. We got hangout memories. We got memories, folks. We got anecdotes.
My abs are cramping. I'm getting so ripped off these anecdotes. Okay. So
these are anecdotes. No, take that one out. Take that one out. That one's not good.
Okay. Not your stepsister's anecdotes.
Oh my. These anecdotes are
I can't breathe, dude. Oh my God. Okay. My face is covered in tears, dude. Oh my God.
Tom, by the time this reaches your ears, will have intricately bleeped out most of that, I'm sure. But maybe we'll talk about what just happened in the post show. But definitely, there's plenty of it that will, I'm sure, be sorry. The whole point of these last 2 weeks was to make you bleep stuff less, but that has not been the case. Anyway. Maybe I should just let the moment breathe instead of forcing it through. I thought I had made you laugh. I thought I made you laugh the hardest I've ever heard you laugh in the Forever the Sickest Kids episode. But I think we might have topped it. Which means you have to leave it in the show, but you have to bleep the joke. I think. I'm not sure.
I might actually throw up. Oh my God, my whole body is sweating. Okay. Oh, I'm actually choking. Anyway, so after a coughing fit of almost 3 minutes after that, you can still, my throat's still closed up. Okay, so when I was in college, I was in a band called The Good Fight. And our drummer was like a trust fund kid, ended up being a total piece of shit, but he bought Mayday Parade's old SJC drum set. And it was so sick. It was like a black powdered acrylic that you could plug in and the whole thing lit up.
Like a similar model or the actual kit?
No, it was like Mayday Parade's kit that they toured with.
Whoa.
It was so sick, dude. It was so expensive. I cannot believe he paid for it. It was like
How much?
It was like $9,000 for just the drums.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course he didn't know how to tune them, so it sounded like terrible. But anyways, we played their old drum set, these huge butcher hoops that had like this spray painted vine pattern across it. All the drums had lights in it. You could plug them in. The whole thing lit up. We played a show once with just the light of the drums on stage. It was so sick. But I really love this album because, again, I associate a lot of these albums with like certain periods of my life or like where I first heard it. And this album was like the most vivid memories I have of it was driving to and from Edinburgh, which for the people listening who aren't from Erie, Pennsylvania, like we were, which is most of you, Erie was like kind of like this depressed post steel mill town, like Rust Belt, very much so. And there wasn't a lot for kids to do there if you were under 21. And all the good shows happened. It was like, 18 miles south in a place called Edinburgh. It was a college town. A lot of people who went to high school in Erie ended up going to college there. It was like a big art school. So in high school, my mom would like let me borrow her old like CRV and drive to Edinburgh to go to shows. And around junior year of high school, I didn't have like many friends in my own school. So most of my friends were like people that I knew from shows in Edinburgh who went to different schools out there. So a lot of this album gives me that feeling of like, I'm 17, I'm allowed to borrow my mom's car. I'm going to see my friends at shows. And I think in a past episode, I said there was another band that was that kind of band for me, but like very heavily in 2007, 2008, I was remembering just like driving around, especially hanging out with this one girl that I really liked. She was a photographer, so I always found any reason to do photo shoots at her place. And
she had the fisheye lens, which I didn't know was a thing.
Oh yeah, dude, it was so sick. Her photos were so awesome. And I don't know, man, just like this album makes me think of like fall, going to a show, gonna see this girl that I like, gonna see all my friends, and gonna drive home really late, just blasting Ocean and Atlantic, screaming at the top of my lungs, just racing.
Which is their best song. Oh, if we ever do the album
absolutely.
episode, that's hands down the number one.
Totally. So like, it's a very special album for me just for the memories that I associate with it. And then the last thing I have here is if you Google Jamie All Over lyrics, what actually comes up is Boom by Simple Plan, which I think is really, really just totally the wrong lyrics. And
interesting.
That's a pretty good Simple Plan song, kind of a country vibe to it in the chorus. But anyway,
you don't say.
That's all I really have. Like a lot of good memories associated with this album. I loved it. You've asked in past episodes, this is the kind of thing you listen to in your car at a red light, or are you putting headphones on? Unfortunately, being afraid of people's judgment, this was like something I would blast as loud as I could with headphones on. But I always felt a little insecure, like, gender's dead, whatever. But like, I felt like not manly enough listening to this album, which is unfortunate because it's such a good record.
Yeah, for me, I had a job at the Civic Center, where the Otters played, and there'd be Disney on Ice, and Harlem Globetrotters would stop through, and I ran frozen fries and would tap the kegs and stuff, basically the behind the scenes at the concession stands type dude. Anyway, after work, that was back when there was a girl in high school that I was talking to at the time. I remember being very excited about that and listening to Ocean and Atlantic, really, because my parents are the kings of buying a car and only getting rid of it until after it's gone over 200,000 miles. But that happened, that changeover period happened to occur while I was in high school. But they bought this new Mazda van hybrid thing. I don't know, definitely a having kids type of vehicle, but it wasn't a total 200,000 mile end of its life type vehicle at that point. So I just remember blaring Ocean and Atlantic, like having a crush is the best. I don't know. Right. It was not exactly, I wouldn't, it wasn't like mid, we are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. It was definitely like a perennial state of like crushhood song for that like month period. And Ocean and Atlantic was a very fun, fun way to do that. I remember really liking Jamie All Over because it's the best. I think it's when you realize right off the bat, like, are these two lead singers? And then after you hear the album a couple times, you're like, okay, there are two for sure. We've looked it up. We've established that. But there's kind of a lead and a backup. And I think Jamie All Over might be the best example of their two vocals on display. And they have a little fun in the video as well, going back and forth. You kind of get to visualize it a little better, maybe.
Pat, there's a third singer on this song.
Don't even get me started.
The whole outro,
really?
the "We Made Love by the Ocean," like the very over-announced thing is Jason's brother Daniel, who sings in a band called Stages and Stereos. And Yeah, so that last
not a lot
singer,
of bands make it when they're a this and this band name.
I
band.
know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They always make for pretty palatable names, but they never splash. Something about it. Yeah. I'm like fact checking that in my head real quick.
Me
Anyway,
too.
Okay.
Someone on Twitter is going to be like, "You idiot! This is the biggest band of all time."
Right. Exactly.
Like Fleetwood and Mac, right?
Well, no, it's just Fleetwood Mac, unless that was intentional. Sometimes I can't tell with your Beatles takes are so foreign or so alien to me that I don't even know if you know Fleetwood Mac sometimes. Even though on the show we've made the claim several times that Paramore is generation-wise Fleetwood Mac, which is like there's so many like disclaimers in that it's hard to even disprove it, which is I guess kind of the joke and kind of the point, but also I believe it because it's a drama-filled existence. They don't exist as a band right now. Exhibit A. Okay. Anyway. So really good album opener, you feel like, and it's a pretty straight down the middle music video, right? Like they're in Vegas. Here's my thing. Jamie all over, they're in Vegas. It's a fun thing. We'll get into it. But When I Get Home, You're So Dead is them as like abandoned building graffiti artist, like ne'er-do-wells getting like handcuffed and stuff. So I'm like, what is this band's persona? I have no idea. You know, like, what is the label trying to tell me about these people?
Right, they got a new PR person after the Jamie Oliver
it's
video.
like, hey, everyone thinks you're super soft, and so let's put some hoods up. Let's get into an abandoned building. Yeah. What's your angriest song? It's like, well, they're all kind of angry. It's like, well, When I Get Home, You're So Dead. I don't even need to hear it. Perfect title. Love it. Let's get you in an abandoned building as fast as we can because this white sunglasses, white tux thing went over not great. Just kidding. It went over great because we all loved them all. But
Right.
I don't know if you noticed that where it's like, wow, their music videos definitely are a wide spectrum of like them and playing different characters.
Yeah, it's a total 180. But I mean, it's like a fine. You know, we talk about introduction to the band music videos, and this definitely seems like one of them, right? Like they're trying to put this image in your mind of like just a couple of playboys making rock music, right? Like that's kind of the video.
Just a couple of playboys making rock music. I don't know. Were they supposed to be? Some of them are dressed like Vegas waitstaffers, and there's like some waitstaffers at the end that join in on the party. But then the main guy is wearing a white tux, and most of them are gambling. So I'm like, are they waitstaffers breaking out of their shifts and having a nice night, or are they high rollers coming in from from a different town? They drove up from LA or something. Everything, you know. It was hard for me to really grasp on what they were doing, mostly because like, you know how there's always like the band shot.
Yeah.
The band shot is behind a wall of lights. So it's kind of like, you know, we make fun of the Swing Swing video by All American Rejects all the time. It's like they're in a garage in Oklahoma. Like they are for sure from Oklahoma if you watch that video. Like you know what they're trying to tell you. Other than lights and Vegas being vaguely connected, like they're just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to pick up on what they're going for there, especially considering all the other music videos that came from this album in general. So here's my thing. I thought there was like a bunch of songs written about Vegas after The Hangover came out. Everyone was like, oh, let's just ride this thing about like Vegas is fun. Turns out that was mostly the Katy Perry thing and The Hangover, both being released in 2009, her Vegas song and stuff. I don't know if it was inspired by that at all, but this came out in 2007, obviously. So
sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
I just assumed, like in my head, I lumped all the Vegas cultural memories from the 2000s into one pile, but that was a bit of a stretch because this predated that movie and everything. So I take it back. I thought that was going to be a big splashy take in this episode, but it's just me admitting I was wrong about something. So went in the other direction a little bit.
It's so interesting to me, like people try to do like the Vegas thing, like the high rollers in Vegas, but like there's only two things you can do in Vegas. So it doesn't actually make for that great of a video.
What are the two things?
You can gamble and be with women. Like that's...
Well, you went to Vegas kind of recently and have, I would argue, not the highest opinion of it. Not that anybody is like, it's actually a great town. Which I guess people who live there do say that. Like there's actually a city outside of the Strip that exists and functions. Like the Killers are from there and Imagine Dragons are from there. But, you know, it's kind of, Panic at the Disco is from there. So there's like a town where people grow up and come out of there. But so it's kind of weird to think about it like that.
Apparently,
you're not a big fan, I guess. That's not your dream vacation destination.
It's funny that you said recently because 2020 is already such a blur. I was like, yeah, it was just in February. It was last February that I was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we never kind of mentioned this, but I flew to Vegas to do an interview with my buddy Spencer, who's the lead singer of Periphery. And then we ended up hanging out in Vegas all night, and then we never did the interview. So,
didn't the drummer from Creed buy you Wagyu beef or something?
Yeah, hung out with the drummer from Creed and someone from the Blue Man Group and the singer of Periphery, and then little old me, host of Reminiscent.
That's right.
Which at the time had like
little at the time. Things have changed since, but
Right.
I don't think we'd figured out the show at that point.
Yeah.
We were just about to publish our first weird book.
Right.
And I think that's why you were there.
There's a picture of an Elvis impersonator in like the dirtiest white Elvis suit holding Gene, one of the characters from the book. I had a fun time. It was weird though. I didn't vibe it. I don't know. I mean, I went into a casino with $40 and I left with $40.03. So I feel like I was a winner.
Yeah.
But it was like you could smoke everywhere and I have the worst asthma. I honestly couldn't wait to get out of that place. It was kind of sad, dude. But anyways, like apparently Vegas, the strip is not actually in Las Vegas. Like when people who live in Vegas, it's a totally different kind. Spencer lives there and he loves it, like pretty low property prices, and it's not like on the strip. So it's like a totally different thing if you live there, I guess. But you don't know, man. It's funny. Like people like really hype that Vegas thing. And like, I don't get it. But like, if you know me at all, you would know that I wouldn't.
It's based
enjoy
on a
Vegas.
lot of things that you've sworn off of for your whole life. So I could see why you wouldn't enjoy it. But in the video, they're gambling a lot. Can we talk about the two singers real quick? Do they sound exactly the same to you as well?
It took me a long time to realize there were two people.
Right. Okay. I'm glad to hear you say that because it took me by surprise. I got to say, I just thought the other guy was like opening up a little more. Like I thought Jesse Lacey from Brand New was two guys for the longest time, but it was just his screamy voice. I was like, I won't be fooled again. I won't do it. I won't do it. And here we are making me look like a fool. These guys who have similar vocal cord layouts. I guess that was the fucking worst. Sorry. Sorry for making more work for you with the bleep there, but that was the very odd way to phrase that. But it's interesting to see it. You know, there's obviously the more theatrical lead singer, and then it's more of a supporting vocal situation. I guess I needed the video to kind of learn that, I guess, or visualize it.
It's also funny how like they sound so similar, but they look so different, and that kind of rattled my brain a little bit because like
it's a kind of a 4 Year Strong thing where like it's two different looking dudes, but the more they make music together, they kind of morph into the same person in the way it sounds. Right? Is that?
Sure, we'll go with that.
I don't know. It reminds me of 4 Year Strong in a way because it's like sometimes I can't really super tell the difference between these two dudes because the degrees of separation are so slim, and that's what this band kind of reminds me of with the singing.
Oh, I can always tell the difference between Dan and Alan. Come on, dude.
Fine. Hey, are you calling my takes stale, bro?
Certified stale. Anyways, no, I get it, man.
Blazing.
And you know, once the one dude left, the band was
certified stale. I'm like, it's hard to tell in an audio medium, but that killed me. I'm like, that like cut right to the core of me real quick. I'm like, oh no, come on, don't lose it, don't spiral. Okay. Anyway, it's a fun video. I guess they're like on the argument of like, is this a band that you would blare out your car or listen on your headphones and be ashamed of it? They're whipping around a little bit. Like they're behaving like Fall Out Boy would in a video, for example. Like they're spinning up a freaking storm, dude. Yeah. They're like, they're really going for it. Any thoughts on the performance itself and the shots of the band?
They're rocking, dude. They're doing a lot of stuff. I think, you know, they're trying to like show that like we're a rock band. Like they're trying to show off, you know, what they can do. Like they're here to rock. They're here to make some good music. And I think they do. I mean,
I think it's the same plight as Cute Is What We Aim For and Boys Like Girls, where it's like, we are not Metro Station or Breathe Carolina. Like please know there's a difference. When really, outside of the very hair-splitting subgenre stuff, they're close, but really they're not at all. Like they are, you know, this is like not even a take, but they're a straight up band. I don't know. I feel almost They are a music group. No, yeah, I don't know. I felt bad. I almost revisiting it like this, hearing Devin say that it was an angsty masterpiece. I'm like, why didn't I just give this album? Was it the name of the album itself and then the experience, just getting loosely, joked about with my sister about it? It's like, oh man, no, I don't like them at all. Like, who would like them? But
right.
Is it just the name of the album? I don't know what it is about it. Like, why are we so hesitant to be like, yeah, this album actually absolutely rips?
Yeah, I mean, there was that like perception of like, oh, it's like this girly album, and when you're 16, you like care about that. It means nothing, but like, I don't know, man. Around this time was like Chiodos was just becoming popular in our high school, and like, no, man, I love the breakdowns. Like,
oh no, they were the victims of like doing something well at the wrong time, which we run into a lot in this decade.
Maybe.
Where it's like Attack and the Gooey Green Monster album covers were taken over or something. Like, let's commit assault for the next several minutes. Like open up this freaking pit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, man, maybe they were just too late. Like, but in hindsight, it's like, I'm glad they don't have any breakdowns really on that album, because I would have been like, what? I don't like that. That wasn't my thing as much as it was. I didn't, for example, appreciate Chiodos as much as you did. I don't think. Well, there was a minute, there was a phase, of course, like all of us. But yeah, in hindsight, one of my favorite albums from the decade. I guess I'm slowly realizing. And the reason we used this music video, I guess, was kind of like as an entryway into seeing. I think we wanted to dip our toes and be like, could we do a Lesson in Romantics album episode? And I just can't get over the fact that is it possible they suffered from not having a real identity? I bring up the thing about this and When I Get Home You're So Dead videos being so different. Like, I just don't remember them having a thing. Like, you always knew who Fall Out Boy was, kind of. You always knew who Brendan Urie was, and from Panic! That he was just a theatrical dude with a good voice. Like,
right.
I'm not sure they had a very good album with a very soft name, or weak name, I guess. And I don't know. I like never knew what my relationship with them was, maybe. For wrong reasons, sure. But maybe, I'm just trying to think like they should have been bigger because this album's great. Like there were a lot of bands that did less that were more famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they just like got pigeonholed into this like weird subgenre of like girly pop rock. And I think they were better than that. Not to say like girly pop rock is bad, but like I don't think people gave them enough credit for how good they were. I mean, the album went gold. It sold 500,000 copies. It ranked number 8 on the US Billboard Heat Seekers albums. So like, it wasn't like an unknown thing, but I really don't think they got the respect that they deserve. But part of it, yeah, maybe because like they didn't have this like strong association with like what they were other than like overly romantic angst, maybe. But I dug it. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And just to get into the video a little bit, not to like continue too far, which is my own fault for doing this, but they gamble, as we see with some of these videos, it's like there's no real clear A story or B story, whatever. They're just kind of successfully gambling until, right. And I don't want to rush through it too much, but like there's a knee slide from the lead singer halfway through, very theatrical move. They're just like getting into it. I'm like, wow, they're really winning a lot of money. When's the other shoe going to drop? And it doesn't. And I'm like, so they just make out like bandits, I guess. And then at the end, it's a dream. And then I remember that like the first lyrics were like, I had a dream last night. So he wakes up. Yeah, right. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's weird with YouTube now, like you say, it ruins the last like 10 seconds of most, really good videos. So, but he has a little chip in his bed. So I'm like, was it real? Question mark. I don't know.
Because in the video, he starts with a single chip. I don't know. Maybe it's like, what's going to happen that night. Maybe he's going to wake up with that chip and relive that dream that he just had. But it was funny because like I was going through the notes as I was watching the video for the first time, and I saw it was all a dream. I was like, damn, what a spoiler. But then it's like, oh yeah, the first line is literally, I had a dream. Like, yeah, dude. I mean, it's fine. It's a totally fine video. Like, it's not bad. It's, what did your wife say? Unspectacular, unremarkable. Like,
unremarkable, yes.
Yeah, but it's good, man.
But that was for the band overall. I would say that's unfair for the band, but I wouldn't mind. No, I disagree as well. Yeah. What I'm saying is like maybe I put that for this video. We've talked about some better videos on the show because there's no real story or fun. I guess I was expecting there to be, In Too Deep, Sum 41, action figure, people jumping up. Like there's like there's a promise of weird absurdity in a lot of these, and we saw that a little bit in the Forever the Sickest Kids Whoa video we did a couple weeks ago. There's enough goofiness to be like, this rings true to the Blink Sum 41 era goofiness that I remember. There's no real goofiness. They're just like getting women, making money, chilling in this emo verse that Devin mentions, which I want to talk about next.
Yeah.
But it's like, this isn't as self-deprecating as I've been trained to expect. And it really kind of maybe contributed to what people expected from bands at the time. Maybe like, no, you guys aren't really funny because I need you to be really funny too. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's unfair. Maybe that speaks to the why Blink was so popular, maybe, or things like that. But yeah, I guess this episode is just a giant apology for like, sorry for not being a more vocal fan, I guess, because it's like, man, I really like all of this,
Yeah.
I really like the final fifth of the song, I guess, or like the We Made Love by the Ocean stuff. It's like, man, you guys love writing about the ocean, but when you do it, it's tremendous, so it's like whatever you get your inspiration from, I'm digging it for sure. And in terms of like, is this the best song on that album? I don't know, but it would be one of the top tier ones, I'd argue. It's definitely one of the ones I revisit the most frequently. And yeah, they kind of weave in the whole we're rocking the 2 vocalist thing, 3 vocalist thing, as you mentioned in this song. Kind of bring it all back during the last fifth of the song. And they start strong and finish strong. It's fun. Can I say it's fun? Is that too much of a cop-out? It's just fun.
It is. I mean, again, the video's totally fine. Like, it's fine. The song is great. The album is great. Any time that I tell someone, you have, like, if I'm giving directions to go to the left, I always think down and to the left. Either that, or when we were in ski club and we'd have 3 people on a ski lift. I always skied with my friends Cameron and Adam. And whenever we'd be like, do you want to go to the right or the left? Adam would always sing to the left, everything you own in a box to the left. So if I'm giving someone directions, I'm either thinking down into the left or everything you own in a box to the left. Just, that's little bit of inside my mind. Anytime I'm giving directions.
For me, it's whenever I spell the word believe, I think the best part of believe is the lie from the Fall Out Boy song. So it's like, thanks, Fall Out Boy lyric, for helping me spell this word years later. All right. You want to talk about the emo verse? I think it's been obvious to everyone that we've just been waiting this whole time. Like, yeah, it was a pretty good video. Let's talk about the emo verse. So here's the loose theory, right? That somewhere that day or that night, further down the strip, All Time Low is stealing a chimpanzee and making off like a bandit in the Dear Maria video. How do you feel about that?
I love it, dude. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Because when we did that music video episode, we were like, it's a pretty good, it's pretty much just a lady doing that type of work,
Right.
But here's where I want to get a little crazy about it. Maybe not crazy. It's not that crazy. This is just a silly podcast. But I do think the Curse of Curves video is happening in a penthouse somewhere nearby. I want to tie that in right now. Like, some people are having fun, stealing apes. Some people are making off like bandits, waking up, imagining they won a lot of money. Somewhere in a penthouse, someone's having a real bad stuffy night with like, someone probably in a Vegas marriage gone wrong. Truth be told. There's poison, there's intrigue. It's Sin City, baby. Turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. I don't know if anything else jumps to mind, but I would love to continue building on the emo verse and how many of these music videos are secretly connected.
Oh my God.
Maybe the Great Escape dudes in that video are just the ones who actually live in Vegas outside of town having the real fun, where people in the actual strip are just messing up their lives and everything like that. I don't know. Tweet at the show @_reminiscentfm. Who else is involved with the emo verse? And much love to Devin for bringing the emo verse to our attention, because it's the only thing I care about in this world right now. And I mean that.
I love it. Yeah, I'd love to round up. I would love to get a map of Vegas and put in all the locations of where all the music videos are happening at one time. That'd be great.
I feel a little weird because we will probably have edited out a big portion of the beginning of this show that we had one of the biggest laughs we've had. So we've been living in the aftershock of that, knowing we can't really use it, which has been a very weird thing. I guess we'll expand on it more in the post show, but we are going to probably edit that heavily. because this is a family program. It's not actually, but there's definitely going to be some adjustments made. So forgive our energy for being lackluster. We probably should have done Mayday Parade more justice. Perhaps we'll do if you guys want it, let us know. We'll just go ahead and do the episode on rank the songs on A Lesson in Romantics and everything like that. Man, there is an eyelash in my eye. It's coming apart at the seams, Tom. You got to help me here. Save me.
I've got nothing to say other than both for Jamie All Over and Here in Your Arms, YouTube really wanted me to watch the Great Escape music video right afterwards. It kept auto playing that one.
Yeah, that algorithm knows what that... If it's like, it's 6 degrees of separation, whatever. It's like, oh, if you've made it to the Great Escape music video, it's like, what the next 10 are going to be after that. Like YouTube, there's only so many YouTube paths to make it through it's not Bandersnatch. It's not going to surprise you every time. It's just, nope, we made it to the Great Escape video. I know what my next 2 hours of music is going to be like.
Well, I feel like we could have done this more justice. Still, my throat was closed up for like half the episode from laughing harder than I've ever laughed.
Oh man, yeah, this is going to be one of our worst episodes because it's going to be a little shorter because we had to cut out a lot. But Tom and I are both in shock, I think, a little bit, and we'll talk about it in the post show right now.
Yeah, let's give a song of the week though. I'm just going to say The One by Taylor Swift off of Folklore. I'm loving this album.
You're loving this
Absolutely
album.
Loving it.
You're loving it.
I'm
loving it. Oh my god, dude. Mirrorball.
Oh, okay. I'm into it. More Taylor Swift. Cool. Show notes. reminiscentpodcast.com/episode/184. We're bombing.
Man,
Let's close it out. Man.
Oh my god. There's an eyelash just working its way into my brain. I'm like, there's like a pack of them dusting my brain right now. Oh god. You can probably hear the eyeball squishes through the mic faintly. I'm so sorry. Sorry. We'll do better next week, everybody. Bye. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, I cannot apologize enough for how quickly this episode went off the rails. The one thing I can promise you, though, is that we will never, ever admit to what was said during that moment. But please hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. Let us know what your perception of this band was back in 2007. Did you love them? Did you hate them? Who introduced you to them? And check out the post show on Patreon at patreon.com/reminiscent. We'll talk to you all next week. We love you. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.